this thing on? I heard you want to quit your job. Congratulations! That's amazing. But now what do? Step into my office. I'm Leslie Dellery. This is Being Millennial-ish. I've left my job a couple times, and in my 20s, I did not handle this very well. So today, I want to share a couple recommendations of steps I would take before I quit my job. Key word being before I quit. Wanting to quit, which is a huge step, is very different from actually quitting. While you might want to turn in your resignation papers and never walk through the door again, before you do that, I think you should consider a couple things to make sure you're setting yourself up for success. A very basic first step, but necessary one, is just to sit down and think about what this job change means. It may sound very basic and not very action-oriented, but this will take you a long way in your planning and also setting your own internal expectations of how long it's going to take you to find a new job. Some key questions I've asked myself in the past are, do I actually know what I want to do? Sometimes you make the decision to leave and you actually haven't thought too much about what you want to do next. So narrowing this down is really important before you make any moves. Do I have enough money saved so I can actually quit and pursue finding a new job full-time? Or do I need to stay at my old job for a little bit of time in order to look for a new job? Is this new job or a new job going to require a lifestyle change? Maybe you make a lot of money now and leaving your job means you're going to actually have to cut back. So how might this impact you, and how can you start to think about that as you look for a new job? Do you have any big plans coming up? A lot of weddings are happening maybe, and you've got a lot of time that you need to take off. Quitting right away might not be the best thing because you might not get the same vacation time at a new job. If this is a totally new career, you might want to consider dipping your toe in a little bit because maybe you want to test it out and see if you actually like it before you go fully in. Set a date for when you want to quit your current job and start a new job now. It's so easy when you start looking for a new job to become so discouraged. You start looking and you're not finding anything, or maybe you're just not getting any callbacks for any interviews. And then the next thing you know, you're like, well, now I'm just 6 months into the year. I might as well wait for my bonus, or I've got this trip coming up. So set a goal now so that you're working towards a very specific date and can hold yourself accountable to working towards that date. Set up tasks and milestones for yourself to do weekly towards finding a new job. I emphasize weekly for a couple reasons. First, jobs come and go. If you only do your job search once a month, then chances are you're probably going to be missing out on some jobs that have already passed. Second, let's be honest, looking for new jobs is not very fun. If you say, I'm going to spend 5 hours a month doing this, you're probably going to end up waiting and doing the 5 hours at the end of the month, and then maybe not actually doing the full 5 hours. So set up a realistic amount of time, maybe it's just 30 minutes or an hour every single week to go and do something towards finding a new job. Let's say you've picked a bunch of target companies, then go onto those target companies' websites and actually once a week, just look at the job postings and see if there's anything there. Maybe you're trying to be in acting and you're looking for casting classes where you can showcase your skills. So go and do that at least once a week, or for some of these careers, it might be better to do daily and just spend 5 minutes a day doing this every single morning. Start thinking about any adjustments that you may need to make for your lifestyle based on a new job. Maybe you've determined that you actually want to move to California from New York, and so you need to start researching apartments on the side in addition to looking for a job, because if you get a new job, you need to have a place to live. Maybe you're not going to have healthcare in your new job, so you need to consider that when you get an offer to make sure that you can afford it. Whatever it is, think about the things that your job's going to impact and how you can start to plan for those things now. Lastly, and this is probably the hardest, don't act like you've quit when you actually haven't quit. It can be so hard to stay mentally checked in when you're ready to leave your job, but don't go broadcasting to your coworkers and your boss that you're ready to leave, because they actually might shove you out the door a little bit earlier than you're ready. My first job out of undergrad, I really wanted to quit my job and go back to school, and I got waitlisted. And I had thought that I was gonna get in earlier than I actually did, and so my attitude definitely needed an adjustment for the days that I had to stay. So while it might be tough, try to stay positive in work and not mentally checked out, and the weekly steps should help you feel like you're moving towards the goal of actually leaving. I would love to hear if these steps are helpful in you finding your next job, or any additional recommendations you have for other job searchers out there. So comment on my page and stay tuned for next week's episode.